First impression, new Mercedes Benz G Class. For the first time since the late 1980s, the iconic Mercedes Benz G Class will see a major relaunch coming January. At a secret location in southern Germany, I had a first opportunity to take a closer look at the interior of the new Mercedes G. The Mercedes G Class road car was first introduced in 1979 and still remains very true to the original today. Along with the Lada Niva, it is one of very few cars from that era that remain on sale today. In the late 1980s, the 460 G Class became the 463 G Class. Since that time, the G received many smaller updates and spawned many different body styles, including a convertible and more recently six-wheeler variant, but the dimensions and look remained largely unchanged. Although the 463 designation will remain with the upcoming relaunch, it is as significant as the one from the 1980s. Most importantly, the new G will be 100 mm wider and 54 mm longer as the current G Class. This particularly aids the driver and passengers, with rear passengers gaining as much as 15 centimeters more legroom. This all sounds good, knowing how limited the space is in my G63, but will the new G remain as iconic as the old one? My encounter with the new G interior was staged in a dark room, no pun intended, with just the interior light of the car on, as Mercedes intends to keep the new exterior a secret for a bit longer. Inside, a brand new interior awaits. But before I acknowledge all that's new, a few things that remain. What stayed? Inside you will find a few familiar things like the handlebar for the passenger to hold on to, the 3 distinct buttons to engage the differential locks, and the switches to open the windows on top of the door. Although this preview was very much about the interior, I couldn't help but notice some exterior elements that remain too. Even in the dark, I could clearly recognize the indicators on the top of the front bonnet, the old-school door handles, the side exhaust pipes, side steps, and the spare wheel cover mounted at the single rear door. Opening the door to the driver's seat, I could hear the familiar clicking sound every G owner will recognize immediately. When I closed the door, or should I say slammed the door shut, it made the same distinct sound as the old G. Great, what is gone? A few things that have gone: the basketball net that doubled as the only front cup holder. The current G has no storage space whatsoever, so the 2 center cup holders and the 2 in the doors are welcome additions, but the basketball net is gone, and the gear lever in the center console is replaced by a lever on the steering wheel. What is new? The rest is all new, partly inspired or carried over from the latest generation E and S Class, like the steering wheel, which is a bit too thin for my liking, center console, and the optional dual infotainment display. The interior also sports a few unique design elements, like the air vent shaped like the front headlights and the burmester speaker shaped like the front indicators. Several new trim lines are available, including metal structure and various different open-pore woods. The most significant upgrade are the seats and the space inside in general. Tall drivers and passengers will no longer struggle to find a comfortable driving position, and the seats now offer all the latest luxury you can also find on the S Class, like a massage function. The rear bench comes with a ski hatch and 8-step adjustable cargo setting. The rear passengers sit slightly higher as the front row, giving them a better view. At the same time, the rear floor is raised slightly as well. The infotainment system's version 5.5 provides the latest in connectivity and entertainment. You can charge your smartphone wirelessly in the center console. Adjustable ambient lighting is now also available, and so is keyless go. Customers can choose between 2 digital displays or 1 digital display with analog speedometer and rev counter. I would probably opt for the latter, as it fits the G Class character better. Judging by the buttons found on the left side of the steering wheel, new assistance systems like lane assist will also come to the mighty G. Overall, the new Mercedes Benz G represents a serious leap in driver and passenger comfort, and pretty much all my issues with the interior of the current G Class have been resolved. I am very happy many of the elements that make the Mercedes G such an iconic car appears on the next generation too. The interior design is a bit too playful for my taste, But you can have it all. Stay tuned for more about the new G here on Spirit in the upcoming weeks.
Lamborghini's new SUV has been officially unveiled today near to the Lamborghini factory in Bologna, Italy. The official unveil marks a milestone in the Lamborghini brand's history. It's only the second time that the Italian manufacturer has flirted with the concept of a four before. The original LM002, as glorious as it was, turned out to be a disaster for the company. 10 years in development, originally intended for the US military, Lamborghini eventually settled for around 300 customer cars. Fast forward over 30 years and the idea of a Lamborghini SUV actually has a better business footing. Being a Volkswagen group, Lamborghini has access to the ubiquitous MLB playroom which has underpinned the likes of the Porsche Cayenne and the Audi Q7 for years. 2 years ago, Bentley launched the successful Bentayga using the same platform. The cost savings in using the platform are clear. Back to the car that Lamborghini unveiled today. Its styling is clearly going to be controversial. Whereas the LM002 was a true off-roader, the Urus is intended to sit somewhere between the tarmac and the dirt. 2018 Lamborghini Lamborghini have opted for an edgy look. The front is incredibly complex, blending a multitude of shapes, lines, curves, just about every styling tool at the designer's disposal. The side and rear are no less coherent. A long line runs the length of the flank, and the front wheel arch gets a fender vent. At the rear, quad exhausts surround a diffuser. The rear bonnet gets a lip spoiler and the roof, a small spoiler. Unlike the LM002, the Urus hasn't immediately jumped on the company's largest and most powerful engine. It has also bucked the naturally aspirated trend. It uses the familiar 4.0-liter V8 with twin turbochargers. The rationale is that the Urus, with its bigger heft, needs additional low-end torque which simply isn't achievable with a naturally aspirated unit. The front-mounted engine produces 641 bhp at 6,800 rpm and 627 pounds-foot of torque. 0 to 100 km per hour happens in just 3.6 seconds and 200 km per hour in 12.8 seconds. The power is routed through an 8-speed automatic box. It uses a torque converter to ensure maximum engine response. There is no doubt then that the Urus performs like a Lamborghini should despite its 2,200 kilograms curb weight. Naturally, the Urus is four-wheel drive. It uses a Torsen self-locking differential. The power is delivered 40% to the front and 60% to the rear with the ability to shift as much as 70% to the front or 87% to the rear. Torque vectoring and rear wheel steering also assist with traction. On the electronic side of things, Lamborghini have fitted the Urus with 6 drive modes: Strada, Sport, Casa, Neve Snow, Terra Off-Road and Sabia Sand. They all do different things to the adaptive damping and other systems to assist in the conditions they relate to. Aside from the engineering aspects, Lamborghini has also championed the luxury design of the interior. The interior is oriented towards the driver and matches the Huracan and Aventador in style. It uses hexagonal